Hi everyone, welcome back to the Rugby League History channel. Today on the channel I'll be doing my tips and predictions for round 8 of the 2025 NRL season. Last week I got 4 out of 8 correct. Maybe if I had a bit more faith in my own team I could have got 5 out of 8 correct. But anyway, let's see how many that we get right in round 8. And the first match to kick us off is on Thursday night. This one's between Brisbane and Canterbury Bankstown. It's being played at Suncorp Stadium. Brisbane have a good recent record over Canterbury. They've won 7 of the last 10 fixtures in the league. The last time that Canterbury actually won against Brisbane at Suncorp Stadium were in round 22 of the 2015 NRL season, so it's not a venue that they really enjoy going to. Canterbury remain undefeated and have won their last 2 matches in a row by keeping the other opposition scoreless. As for Brisbane, they had a really narrow loss against New Zealand and Golden Point. This is going to be an absolutely huge game, and Canterbury will be looking to continue their unbeaten start of the season. Brisbane have been good for the most part. They've had some displays where they haven't been at their best, but this will be a high quality game. But with how Canterbury's been going to start the year, I just can't look past Canterbury, so I'm going to go for Canterbury to win by 1 or 12 points. I don't think that they'll be able to keep Brisbane scoreless, but I think this will be a really physical contest and it'll be quite close. The first match on the Friday is, of course, the traditional Anzac Day game between Sydney Roosters and St George. This one's being played at the new SFS. In the league, East have enjoyed a bit of wood over St George in recent times. They've won 7 of the last 10 fixtures. This Anzac Day game's been played since 2002. St George had the most wins with 12. And we've had some memorable clashes in the past on Anzac Day. The last 2 encounters have both gone to East, including last year when they put 60 points on St George. Last round, St George had a narrow victory over Manly, and as for East, things were quite close against Penrith, and in the end Penrith just got away from them, so they'll be looking to rectify it this week on Anzac Day. These particular games always go either way. It's very hard to call, but this year I'm going to tip St George to win. I think last year I did tip East to win, but this year I'm going to go for St George to win, so I'll go for them to win by 1 or 12 points. The second match on Anzac Day on Friday is between New Zealand and Newcastle. This one's being played at the Apollo Project Stadium in Christchurch. Last time out, Newcastle had another disappointing loss, this time against Cronulla. I just think with Newcastle, they're not playing well at the moment. They're not gelling in attack, they just look off. And they have to sort that out soon, because they did have a good start of the year. As for New Zealand, as I mentioned earlier in the video, they had a narrow victory in Golden Point over Brisbane. New Zealand, to start the year, I think that they've been alright, they've been pretty good. I think for this match, Newcastle's going to have to be at their best, I think, if they're going to beat New Zealand in Christchurch. Their record in New Zealand isn't that great. They've only ever won 9 times at the venue in Auckland, and they've had a couple of games around the rest of New Zealand and they haven't fared too well. So for this game, judged on how both teams are playing, I'm going to go for New Zealand to win. I'll go for New Zealand to win this match by 13 plus. And the final match on Anzac Day on the Friday is between Melbourne and South Sydney. This one's being played at Amy Park in Melbourne. Melbourne have a really good record over South Sydney in recent times. They've won 8 of the last 10 matches in the league against them. And another really interesting stat, and one of the biggest hoodoos in rugby league, is South Sydney's never won in Melbourne, and that includes the old Olympic Park Stadium. So since 1998, every time Souths have travelled down to Melbourne, they've lost, which is just incredible. Last week, Melbourne conceded 40 points in a game for the first time since 2012. Even though I tipped Melbourne, if you know the channel, I was buzzing by the fact that Redcliffe beat them like that. They're my second favourite team now, Redcliffe. No, just joking. But yeah, they got battered, and so did South. South were kept scoreless against Canterbury Bankstown on Good Friday. So both sides coming into this having lost heavily. But as we all know, Melbourne rarely lose 2 matches in a row, and especially given how they were beaten by Redcliffe, I would hate to be in that video session or at training this week if I was in Melbourne squad. So as much as I'd like to see South Sydney win down there for the first time ever, given what I've just said earlier, God help them, to be honest with you. I think Melbourne's really going to put a score on South Sydney if they're not careful. So I'm going to go for Melbourne to win by 13 plus. The first match on Super Saturday is between North Queensland and the Gold Coast. This one's being played at Queensland Country Bank Stadium in Townsville. In recent times, the head-to-head between these two sides is quite close. They've both won 5 matches against each other in the last 10 meetings. However, I will say that the Gold Coast don't have the greatest record in Townsville. They've only won once up there since the new stadium's been built, and before that, going back, they had quite a few losses up there at the old Willows Sports Complex. North Queensland coming into this match off the bye, so they'll be fresh, and they've really turned the corner after having a slow start of the year. And the Gold Coast, they had a great start against Canberra and fell away and picked up another loss. Another interesting thing about this match that I talk about all the time is there's a bit of an off-field rivalry between certain content creators in the YouTube community and stuff like that, and no doubt either party is going to be desperate to get the win, to get the bragging rights over each other. But for this one, I'm going to go for North Queensland to win at home. I'm going to go for them to win by 1 to 12 points on Saturday. And the second match on Super Saturday is between Penrith and Manly Warringah. This one's being played at the Western Sydney Stadium. Penrith enjoy playing Manly in recent times. They've won 8 of the last 10 matches against them in the league. Last time out, Manly had a very narrow loss against St George. I mean, if Ruben Garrett gets that goal and it goes to extra time or whatever have you, who knows, maybe the result might have been different. With Penrith, they're just playing with me at the moment. I've tipped them all year and they lose every week. And I tip against them and they win. And it was quite close for a while there against East, and then they just powered away and won by a good margin. For this match, I think Penrith has turned a corner. I will tip Penrith to win this game, and I'll go for them to win by 1 to 12 points. And the first match on the Sunday is between Canberra and Redcliffe. This one's being played at Bruce Stadium in Canberra. These sides have met 3 times since Redcliffe came into the NRL. Canberra's won 2 of those, and I believe, if Rugby League Project is correct, this is Redcliffe's first ever trip to the nation's capital as well. Last time out, as I mentioned earlier in the video, Redcliffe, I mean, they were down against Melbourne and then they just put, 40 unanswered points against them. First team to put 40 points on Melbourne since 2012. Absolutely amazing performance. Still can't really believe that they've done it, but amazing performance by them. And with Canberra, they had a very slow start against the Gold Coast, but then they powered home. I think this is going to be a really good match because Redcliffe's turned the corner. Canberra's been quite good to start this year. This one could go either way, I believe, but I'll stick with the home side. I'll go with Canberra to win, and I'll go with them to win by 1 to 12 points. And the final match to close out round 8 is between West Tigers and Cronulla Sutherland. This one's being played at Leichhardt Oval. Cronulla love playing against West Tigers in recent times. They've won 8 of the last 10 matches against them in the league. And their record at Leichhardt Oval in recent times is also pretty good as well. It's not too bad, so it's not a place that they fear going to. In round 7, Cronulla had a really good win over Newcastle. I don't think that we're ever really troubled by them. And as for West Tigers, they started well against Parramatta on Easter Monday. Then they fell away for a bit there, and then it was really through Parramatta shooting themselves in the foot and almost throwing the game away that let West Tigers back into it. But no doubt they'll be disappointed to lose on Easter Monday. But they're back at Leichhardt Oval, which is a place that they love playing in front of their fans there, and it's a good atmosphere and the fans will be right on top of them. Of course, Cronulla is a different beast to Parramatta. They're a much better team, more well drilled, so West Tigers are going to have to be at their best, I think, to beat Cronulla. I could see West Tigers potentially pulling off an upset, but I'm going to go for Cronulla to win this game by 112 points. So that concludes my tips for round 8 of the 2025 NRL season. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. Let me know who you're tipping. Once again, last week, good views and good numbers and lots of engagement, so I'm really happy with how things are going. Good luck with your tips this week. And as always, this has been Rugby League History, and I'll catch us all later in the next one. Alright, tatty bye for now.